Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. We were off school yesterday for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So it's our first day of the week. It's a 4-day week. It's gonna be a little off already because we have interim testing happening tomorrow and Friday, but today should be fairly normal. And I wanted to bring you along with me because I have some fun things to share. We are doing some underground spirit days this week as a staff. We're also doing a fun science activity today that I'm gonna share with you. And we've got some math things. A scavenger hunt, a digital escape room, should be fun. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start with my outfit. I mentioned we are doing underground spirit days this week. If you have no idea what that is, it's like a spirit day where there's a certain theme or something to wear, but it's underground because only the teachers know about it. And the whole idea is to see if the students kind of pick up on, hey, they're all wearing something similar, or like there's a certain theme happening. So today it's to wear animal print, and this is a ridiculous outfit to me. I know there are people out there that will not think that.
Please tell Daryl that this is not a woman's suit.
Oh my God, that's a woman's suit.
This is not what I would normally wear, but I have these cow print pants. I did not own any animal print prior to this, and I was trying to decide, when you go on Amazon and you type in like animal print women's clothes, it's mostly cheetah print, which would be fine, but I felt like cow print, I could get multiple uses out of this. If I do anything in my classroom that's like cowboy related, Western themed, we've got cow print now. So they're just kind of basic, like kind of flare bottom pants. They are stretchy, I gotta give them that. They're comfy. Like I can squat down in them, it's great. They're just not my style, but now I have them. They're on Amazon, I'll link them, I guess, if you want. And then I have this brown tank top shirt. I have this same one in white. It's that like Jessica brand or something from Amazon. I love it because it is super comfortable, holds up well, so I guess I'll also link that. This is from Costco, so I can't link this. But it's a little chilly this morning, so we're gonna put this on. And whilst I unpack my lunch bag and backpack, I figured I could kind of recap the weekend. There's not a whole lot to share, but it was a 3-day weekend, which was nice. I feel like 3-day weekends, I just come back super refreshed. This week for lunches, I did kind of a similar chopped salad, although this week I put shredded chicken in with it rather than tuna. And then I left the dressing off, and I'm gonna add the dressing that day, so it's in a little container. But this is cabbage, snow peas, celery, carrots, bell pepper, cucumber, tomatoes. I think that's it. It's a lot of veggies, onion. I do think maybe next weekend I'm going to record like a Sunday reset type of video, like, hey, here's how I spend my Sundays as a teacher to get ready for the week, and that will include meal prepping. So you'll get to see a little more details when we get there. Now, this weekend, we didn't do anything super fancy. Oh, this is a backup. It's a denim shirt. It has like my school logo on it. If I'm feeling the denim instead of the all brown, we've got that as an option. So Sunday, we did take Billy's dad, who I think I've shared before that he lives near us now for past 2 or 3 years. We took him to barbecue, basically as part of his Christmas gift, and then also to say thank you because he watches our cats when we travel. And so because we were in Egypt over winter break, we're like, you know what? There is an Egyptian barbecue place here in Austin that we love. We first went back a couple of years ago, and then we actually did a barbecue class with the pitmaster. He is from Egypt, and so his barbecue is Texas barbecue with an Egyptian twist. So he has these like za'atar and pomegranate glazed pork ribs. It's phenomenal. The pink potato salad, chef's kiss. There's this like Egyptian mac and cheese, which isn't even in the video clip because we realized after the fact that that was missing, we had to go up and grab it, but it's so good. I got myself like this rice bowl. It has candied nuts on top and pomegranate seeds and like a yogurt dill sauce. Oh, so good. That was on Sunday. And then the rest of Sunday was kind of a like, just get yourself together. We went to the gym, did laundry, got groceries. Yesterday is when I actually did my meal prep, and I did make a fantastic dinner last night. Billy and I have recently invested in some more attachments for my KitchenAid mixer, and one of them is a spiralizer. I used to have a handheld one, it just wasn't as great, but we got like a heavy duty spiralizer for the KitchenAid, and so I made zoodles, but they were a little thicker than normal, so I made it into like a zoodle lo mein type concoction with shrimp, and I threw in like bell pepper and mushrooms and snow peas, and then I used this like G. Hughes General Tso's stir fry sauce, and so it's very easy to throw together, and it was absolutely delicious. But that was about it. So let's get into more important things with science happening this week. We are starting a new chapter all about weathering and erosion. So we have to kick it off today with one of my favorite mystery science lessons. I'll talk a little bit more about mystery science in just a minute, but I did prep the materials before I left last week. So I basically just have a tray. Now there are 10 of them because my students are going to work in partners. I might have a couple of groups of 3, but for the most part, they're just gonna work in partners. But I didn't lay them all out because I wanted to make sure like my countertops and everything got cleaned. But essentially, each partnership is going to have a plastic container. These are just little like food storage type containers. It needs to have a lid because they're gonna be shaking it. They need a small plate or napkin or something because they're gonna be dumping it out onto there. They need 2 different colored markers, and then they need sugar cubes. Now these were my sugar cubes left from last year, but I knew it wasn't gonna be enough, so I grabbed some more at the store. But basically, the partners are going to have sugar cubes, and they're going to color the edges of them with their markers. So they have 2 different colors so that they can see them coming off of the sugar cubes, but they're gonna put them in the containers. They're gonna be shaking them up to represent weathering, almost like the rocks tumbling down a cliff, if you will. And then they're gonna dump it out and look at all of the sugar that comes off of the cubes and how the edges of the cubes get worn. And it's a great discussion about what weathering is. And then this will lead us into next week when we start to talk about erosion. I know I did an entire vlog about this last year, and it's probably best to go back and watch that for the full overview of the mystery science lesson, because last year I had a mystery science free trial, so I was able to go in and access the lesson and the printables and all of the things. However, that trial expired at the end of last year, and mystery science, unfortunately, you cannot purchase a singular subscription for your class. I would be more than willing to because I love it that much. However, you can only get it with like a school or district subscription. And unfortunately, like our school hasn't opted into that, but one of my team teachers signed up for their trial. So that is how we are accessing the materials this year. I do recommend, if you have never used mystery science before, usually when you sign up for the free trial, it'll give you like a school year's worth. If you were to sign up right now, it's only gonna give you until like the end of June. So just keep that in mind. But have a different teacher from your team like sign up year after year so you can get access to materials. Thankfully, I am able to still access like the video components of it through a link that my team teacher sent, because she was able to generate basically like the student link, and that's what I'm gonna use to actually present the lesson. So let me show you what that looks like. So when I click on the link that she sent me, you get this little pop-up and it's like, hey, new members get a free trial. Well, I'm not a new member because I already used that last year. But if I close this out, I can still access the video. So it starts with this 3-minute kind of introduction video. It talks about how water expands when it freezes, and then it goes on to talk about like rocks and and it talks about like rocks falling down cliffs and how come the rocks at the top are much sharper than the rocks at the bottom that are much smoother. So then it gives you discussion questions along the way, which I love. Then it's gonna start to go over the directions. So it's gonna go over the sugar cubes, but it also takes it step by step. I'm gonna mute that. So they're gonna get into partners. Each partner needs the paper plate, the 5 sugar cubes, a container with a lid, 2 markers, and then the data sheet or the recording sheet. And then it gives them the steps. So literally it's gonna say, hey, you're gonna take a sugar cube, complete steps 1 and 2. So you're gonna draw what their sugar cube looks like, and guess what they think it will look like after 200 shakes. This is gonna keep popping up, okay? You just hit that X and you move on. Then they're gonna color the edges, so they're gonna kind of work together so that they have one of each color. And then they're gonna count how many edges it has. Then they're gonna have a shaker and a counter for the first trial. And whoever the shaker is, they put their cube into the box with the rest of the plain cubes, leave one colored cube on the plate. That's kind of for them to be able to compare it. And then they're gonna shake it 40 times, counting out loud, record what it looks like, how many edges still have some color. And it'll kind of depend. Results may be a little bit different. And then they're going to put them back in. They're gonna shake some more, switch jobs, etc. And then you've got that discussion question about how the rocks at the top of the mountain are jagged and the rocks at the bottom are rounded. Why do you think that is? And this leads to that discussion about weathering. And then imagine you did this with rocks instead of sugar cubes. What would you get instead of loose sugar? And so those little bits of sediment that break off is what then gets eroded and deposited elsewhere. And so again, it kind of is the perfect introduction to weathering, but also transition into erosion and deposition. That is science for today. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, we are interim testing. I don't have any science planned. If there is extra time after students finish testing, great, we can roll into taking notes. Otherwise, we will do that on Thursday. For math this week, we are focused on comparing fractions. So today we are actually doing a scavenger hunt. Let me show you what that looks like. First, we are gonna start our note sheet today. We're not gonna do the entire thing. We're only gonna do part of it. We're gonna start by talking about if fractions have the same denominator, how you compare them, and then if they have the same numerator, how you compare them. Then we'll get into some strategies when they have different numerators and denominators, but we will at least get these glued in and about half of the page filled in today. Now, I've mentioned before about my math notes. I have a pack on TPT. They don't look exactly like this. I kind of revamped these. I have not had the time to get the new version onto TPT. So if you own my math notes product and you want access to these, it's not gonna be fancy schmancy, but I can give you just like the Google Slides of all of the notes I've been using this year. All you need to do is send me an email and make sure that you include your order ID so that I can verify the purchase. And then I will give you access to the Google Slides with the new version that are more like fill in the blanks. So if you're interested in that, send me an email, pocketfulprimary@gmail.com. This is the recording sheet for the scavenger hunt. So it's fairly basic. There's a spot for them to show their work. They're gonna come up with their answer and then they're gonna write their card letter. So this is what the cards look like. It has two fractions and it's gonna ask either like which is the smallest, which is the biggest. And the card letter is up here in the corner. So this is card A. They can start at any card they want. They don't have to start at A. From there, whatever they get as their answer will be the next card that they visit. So you'll notice here, this says previous answer 7/12. So the last card that they end up with, they'll get an answer of 7/12. It will loop them back here. So they can start at any card. By the end, they will all solve the same problems, but they're just starting in different spots. So I have these cards just taped up around the room, random spots. They're printed on colored paper, but they are not laminated. They're just up there with Scotch tape. I'm probably gonna throw them away afterward because I just didn't have the time to prep like nice ones that were laminated that I could reuse year after year, but it's fine. They get the job done for today and that's all we need. And then I also mentioned we are doing a digital escape room, not this week, but next week. I did spend some time yesterday at home planning for next week for math because I had gotten 3 of the days done. I had 2 days left to do and I really wanted to finish them. I was like this close, but I mentioned my goal for this year is to get more sleep, and about 10 days ago, I had said, I wanna start getting at least 6 hours of sleep 5 times a week. I'm happy to report that since that day, I've gotten at least 6 hours of sleep every single night. So we are going on basically 10 days in a row, and that feels like a miracle. With that, I'm getting into bed earlier, so I just ran out of time. But it works out because now I can show you a little bit behind the scenes of how I am putting the digital escape room together. I've shared about these before. I have templates in my TPT store. They're Google Forms. The digital escape room is already set up for you. All you have to do is go in and add your own questions. So I'm gonna show you how I do that, but also how I make it a little bit more like interactive and digital escape room-esque, if you will. So this particular escape room, because it's kind of winter themed, is Escape the Ski Lodge. So they all start with a little scenario. This one says, uh-oh, you were on a field trip to a local ski lodge and you snuck away from your chaperone group to see if the cabin had a game room. By the time you got back, the entire class was gone and the cabin door was locked with you on the inside. You're going to have to use your best skills to escape the ski lodge before the bus leaves without you. And then it always starts out with giving them a choice. So what is your first move? And you'll notice it's like animated in the background. I don't know if it comes through on camera, but like snow is falling. I'm pretty sure I can pick the lock like I've seen in movies, or I saw a large wood bookcase. I want to check there first for a key. If they choose they can pick the lock, it's a lie, they can't do it. They go to try to pick the lock, you'll notice the doorknob is like moving, but it's not gonna work, and it says it doesn't open, so they have to check the bookcase no matter what. From there, it says you turn left and walk toward the large bookcase. You notice a book in the middle with something sticking out of it and pull it off the shelf. So again, these animations are all included. This part is all done for you. You open the book to the page with the bookmark. Then it says, read the message inside the book. When you click next, then it's gonna take them to their first task. It says, you read the following message on the page. Solve the task below to figure out the secret code. And then this is the part that you fill in that students have to solve. So let me show you what that looks like. So with this product, you get a copy of the Google form that you can go in and edit. So technically you can change any of this that you want. But if you scroll down, here is task 1, and all you have to do is put in your question and the answer here. So this is where you would type the task or question or directions, and then this is where you type the answer. So let me show you one that's already done. Now, this one, I added the question as an image only because I wanted to be able to show the fractions with the numerator on top and denominator on the bottom, rather than if I type it like this, I'm kind of forced to do it sideways with a slash, which my students know is the same thing, but I just figured it would be best to kind of show it here with the image. So I type the directions, type your answer as a fraction using the slash to separate the numerator and denominator. Do not use any spaces. So once they solve this, and the answer is 5/8, I have typed what the answer is here. So 5/8, and then you'll notice that example here. So that's what it looks like when it's fully done. Now, to make it a little bit fancier, you can also add in where students have to like unscramble things. So let me show you what that looks like. This is just a set of Google Slides, and I made the colors match the escape room, but it doesn't have to be that fancy. You can just use a blank slide. You're gonna go ahead and design your question or prompt or add pictures, whatever it is you wanna do on this slide. So for this one, I wanted to have some visuals with the models. So that's why I wanted to be able to have the entire thing as an image. So Mrs. Emerson has been eating pieces of pizza, sounds about right. The shaded part of each picture shows what she has already eaten. So cheese pizza, veggie pizza. Which math sentences compare the relationships between the eaten parts of the pizzas? So for this one, there are actually 3 answers. So this one is true, this one is true, and this one is true. T, which says 2/8 is greater than 1/2, is not true. So they are going to be using the S, the I, and the K, but they're going to have to unscramble them. And they're going to spell out the word ski. So they have to kind of figure that out. That's what makes it a little bit trickier, although I believe in them. So in order to add this into the escape room, I'm going to come to File, hover over Download, and then I'm going to choose PNG image. It's going to save it. Now I'm going to come back to the Google form, and here where it says directions, if I click, I see this little image button. I'm going to click that to insert the image. I'm going to upload it. And here is that download that I just saved. Click open, and it's going to pop in that image. From here, I can give my students actual directions. So I'm going to say, use the letters from the true comparisons to spell a word. You will need to unscramble the letters. Do not use any spaces in your answer. Type the code, I'll say, using capital letters. And then I might put an example underneath. So let's say example code. And obviously that's not the answer, but it's just to show them like what it should look like when they type it. Now I'm gonna come down here where it says type answer here. I'm gonna type in ski. Now I can give them further directions, so if they get it wrong, this is the message that comes up. Right now it just says, sorry, that's incorrect, please try again. But instead of saying please try again, I might give them a hint and say, there are 3 true comparisons. That way it kind of prompts them to make sure that they've used 3 letters. But that's what it looks like. I have now 3 of the tasks. These are designed to hold 5 different tasks. So this is task 1, task 2, and then you'll notice task 2 actually repeats. That's because in the escape room, they end up getting like a choice. And so depending on which one they choose, it'll send them 2 different ways, but they answer the same question. So task 2, and then task 3 is a true false. So for this one, they have to decide if each one is true or false. And then from there, they're gonna type in the code. So let me click in and show you what that looks like. It ends up being true, false, false, true. So they're gonna type TFFT. So I need to, task 3 also repeats. Task 4 and task 5 is what I need to get done. So my goal is to get that done before my students come, but let me now show you with those tasks in there what it looks like. So this is where we left off. Read the message inside the book. From there, it's gonna display that question, and just to show you if they type in the wrong answer, like 4/8, that's not even the answer to this one. Let's say kit is what they thought it was. I'm gonna click next, and it's gonna say, sorry, that's incorrect. There are 3 true comparisons. Then if I type in ski, click next, it lets me continue on. This is where they get a choice. So they pull out the book, they see 2 pictures inside. They can start in the kitchen or they can start in the fireplace. Let's choose kitchen, click next. They decide to start with the microwave, and then they press the power button and a strange message appears on the screen. Again, these are all animated. I'm ready to take a closer look at the message, click next. This brings them to task 2. And again, if they type in the wrong answer, like if they type in 4/8, click next. And I gave them some hints. Make sure your answer does not have any spaces and use a slash like this. Once they type in the correct answer, 5/8, it will let them go on. They put the code into the microwave door pops open, you can see inside, and now you grab the box. It seems to be locked. You're gonna need another clue. So now they're going to the fireplace. So again, they end up in both spots either way. What I love most about these digital escape room templates is you can use them for any subject area, any grade level, because you are in charge of the task. And you can even combine questions together, because sometimes I have people ask me, Michelle, I wanna have more than 5 questions in the escape room. That's fine. As you saw with the image, you can actually put multiple questions on there and have them use like the letters to create a code or numbers to create a code. So you can combine pieces together, and truly it can be as many questions as you want. But I just want to give you a little behind the scenes. I'm gonna try to get this done. If you're interested in the template, I will link it for you. I have Escape the Ski Lodge, Escape Cupid's Lair, Escape the Leprechaun's Trap. I have a whole bunch of them, so I will link all of them as well as this specific one if you're interested. But I need to actually get going, get working on this so I can get it done before my students come, because I do not have planning time today. I have a meeting during my planning time. So I need to utilize this time now so that when I leave here today, I will have all of my plans for next week done. Keep your fingers crossed for me that we can get that accomplished. Here is the aftermath from the Mystery Science investigation today. Here is the cube that did not get rolled around by this group. So one of the cubes always stayed out, kind of as a control and a comparison. And then here were the rest of their cubes. So this is the one that had the colored edges. And as you can see, a majority of it has rubbed off. You can see some of the coloring in with the sugar. And then it was funny because my students were like, they're becoming little spheres. I was like, yes, that's the point. And it led to some great conversations. At the end, to clean up, I basically had them throw away the paper plate, the plastic container, all of the sugar cubes, and then just wipe out the trays with a dry paper towel. And we reused these same containers and plates for both classes. But I will say by the end, with the second class, some of the containers were starting to get cracks in them. It was fine, but I definitely wouldn't reuse them any more than that. And then as we were switching classes to go back at the end of the day, we had to get our desks ready for interim testing tomorrow. So I had my students help. We had to flip the desks around so that they can't get into anything. So it has the blank side and then put them all into rows and columns. But the good news is over here, I do not need to take my math things down until Friday because tomorrow is the reading interim. So I'm gonna leave it up for another 2 days and I will take them down Thursday after school. Okay, we're gonna do a little haul. I say little haul and I'm carrying a massive box. First of all, I got many compliments on my pants today, which is funny because they're just not my style, but everyone's like, oh, those are so cute. And I'm like, okay, this will probably be the only time that I wear them unless it's themed for something. And some other exciting news to share, although I feel very weird about it, but I mentioned in one of my prior vlogs that we were doing nominations for Teacher of the Year, and so I was writing up all of my nominations, and today they announced the finalists, and apparently I am one of them. I don't know why. Honestly, when I read the email, my my face just went, ugh, because not that I don't think I'm a good teacher, I do. I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of teachers that are far better at what they do. I know I have skills, I know I'm really organized and I know I go above and beyond in things, but I, at the same time, feel like my craft as a teacher has a long way to go. I mean, I get better every year, but I still see all the areas that I need to improve. And so I don't know, I just don't feel deserving. It feels weird. It feels weird to share. I don't like feeling center of attention and whatnot. However, all that aside, I will say, of course, it's a good feeling and I'm proud because knowing all the teachers at my school, I still feel lucky just to work here. The fact that I got hired to work here. And so then to be nominated for Teacher of the Year is just, again, it doesn't feel right, but at the same time, it feels like a huge honor, and that's awesome. So, yay. I need to cope with my emotions, but these things are all items that I purchased with money from Boosterthon. So we did a Boosterthon fundraiser, and then because we hit our school goal, we each got basically 10% of the money we had raised for our class to be able to buy things for our class. So these things all came in at the end of last week, actually. I haven't opened them up. I have a couple more things on the way, but I kind of need to figure out what's here. First of all, labels. So these are the labels that I put onto their notebooks at the beginning of the year: science, social studies, math. Next year it'll also be reading. So these come in handy. I love to be able to just print right on them and stick them onto the notebooks. I also got some cello bags. We'll come back to those. I mean, you use them for a lot of things, but I'll share what I'm using them for. And then these are name tags. I like to have these for field trips, color-coded as an easy way to put them into groups. Okay, what are these? I need scissors, first of all. Okay, we're also gonna close that while we're at it. So, okay, I love these scissors. The spring-loaded, they make it really easy for cutting, but they're not the best for opening things like this. So, sorry, I'm probably not setting a good example. Ooh, okay. All right, we're gonna come back to these because I am hoping, this is the other box of them, that one of the other items, yes, okay. Oh, those are heavier than I thought they'd be. All right. So with this money, I knew that I wanted to kind of think ahead and figure out what things I needed. And part of that was Valentine's Day. Now, I don't think the Valentine's Day gifts are in here that I give to my students, but I'm doing the same thing as last year. They're little volcano kits. And so I ordered those with the money. And then I was also thinking ahead to the end of the year. And last year, I just kind of made little goodie bags for them and it kind of had a rainbow theme, but it was whatever. And this year I started thinking, I said, you know what? I always do my class candy awards at the end of the year. What if I incorporated that into the gift? And I realized, oh, if I do a little popcorn movie type theme, whatever candy they get can go into their little gift bag. And I was like, that's perfect. So I ordered a whole bunch of these they're the little popcorn containers, so they're just cardboard and they'll fold out, which these will last me obviously beyond this year. I will have some extras. By the way, as much of this that I can link, I will. To go with the popcorn containers, I got some yellow paper shred. So I'm gonna put some of that at the bottom. And then I'm going to put in a pack of popcorn. They will have their candy from the Candy Awards. And then I also got these, I call them crazy straws. I don't know if there's a better word for them, but they're like the curly straws. And then it has these like movie themed little attachment pieces, which are super cute. So they will each get one of those. I got 2 boxes because obviously I need these for both classes. And then I feel like I was gonna add something else to it, but I can't quite remember. So I don't know, let's open this up and see what this is, because I don't know. Okay, let's see what's in this box. Oh, all right, okay. So also, I was thinking ahead to when we take the STAAR test, and you may remember last year, I put together little STAAR goodie bags for them, and so I replenished some of the items from that. So sorry, there's tape stuck to my finger and I can't concentrate on anything else. One of the items that I put in there were, these little STAAR stress balls. They're so cute, they have little faces on them, but I got a bulk pack of those. I know I had some left from last year, but not enough. I had enough of the little baggies, so I didn't need more of those. I did order more of the erasers, so I had these like STAAR erasers. I'm making sure that's it. Yes, that's it for now. And then I usually put in there like some Smarties, and I have like a little tag that I print out when we get there. I will show you, but I did stock up on some of these. And then the cello bags, I think what I'm gonna do is put their little popcorn gift things into the cello bags just so it's all contained, because I can imagine all of the students having them and them getting knocked over. I think I'm gonna make those little clapper boards as like the tag, and I'll put the student's name on it and tie that on the outside. So I'm still waiting on a few items to come in. The volcano kits for Valentine's Day, the STAAR erasers, and there might be some other things, but if or when those come in, if there was anything that I forgot, I'll be sure to show you. But we're just gonna push this out of the way. I was gonna say I'm gonna clean off my desk, but we're just gonna make it look like it's clean. You know, oh, yep, that can fall on the floor. It's fine. Put this over here, and you would never know. If you enjoyed hanging out with me on this random Tuesday in January, give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. I think I'm gonna do like a Sunday reset type vlog. If not next, then definitely soon. So I will share more about like meal prep and just some of those things I do to get ready for the week ahead. In my last vlog, when I asked if you all were interested, it seemed like in the comments that a lot of you were. So you can come hang out with me on a Sunday next, but make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, even if they're cow pants. And I'll catch you in the next one.